What would you do if you found yourself in a parallel universe where your loved ones didn't recognize you? Jason, the main character, is a physics professor who lives happily with his wife, Daniela, and their son, Charlie. One day, his childhood friend Ryan, whom he still keeps in touch with, visits him and shares that he has recently won a prestigious science award. Jason was once a true genius in physics, but he chose love over his career. Jason says he'll think about it. The friends get drunk, talk heart to heart, and then part ways. On his way home, Jason is attacked by a masked man and taken at gunpoint to an abandoned warehouse. The kidnapper injects him with a substance, and Jason loses consciousness. He wakes up in a windowless space and is soon led into a room where a man named Layton and other scientists congratulate him on his return. Jason doesn't understand what's happening and eventually manages to escape from the laboratory. He returns home, but finds a woman named Amanda, whom he also saw in the lab, waiting for him. Amanda claims she is in a relationship with him and knows nothing about his wife, Daniela, or his son, Charlie. Jason notices that the apartment looks different in ways that couldn't have happened overnight. At that moment, Jason is left alone. A security guard from the lab arrives at the house, and Jason escapes. Meanwhile, a masked kidnapper arrives at the main character's house, and we realize he is an exact copy of Jason. This man greets Daniela and pretends to be Jason. It turns out the story takes place in two parallel universes, and the Jasons have somehow switched places. For your convenience, I'll call the main character simply Jason and his doppelganger Evil Jason. Meanwhile, Jason still doesn't understand what's going on and goes to the hospital, fearing he's unwell. The doctors find nothing wrong. Jason learns that he is considered the most famous physicist of our time and had disappeared a year and a half ago. He tries to find his wife and discovers that Daniela is a successful artist and his friend Ryan is a nobody in this universe. In this world, Jason had created a medical substance for himself. He realizes that, although Daniela is not his wife here, they are on good terms. She reveals that years ago, Evil Jason chose a career over marriage, leading to their breakup. Jason doesn't know who else to turn to, so he asks Daniela for help. They sneak into his house together, after luring Amanda out. Jason finds notes that contain an old design of his. It's a kind of box that can superposition matter. At this point, Jason realizes he's in a parallel universe and that his doppelganger has kidnapped him and sent him here. That evening, guards from the lab burst into Daniela's apartment and kill her, then knock Jason out. Soon, he is interrogated again, but this time Layton, the head of the lab, thinks Jason simply has amnesia. Layton shows him the lab and explains their work. It turns out Evil Jason invented a box that can create a passageway between worlds. Evil Jason went through it first without warning and disappeared for a year and a half. They sent for more people, but none returned, and the scientists didn't know what to do. Recently, Jason came out of the box. The main task of the scientists now is to make Jason remember how he did it. However, Jason doesn't want to help Layton. After local Daniela dies because of him, the head of the laboratory realizes that the Jason before him is not their Jason. They begin to torture him to extract information on how he arrived, but he himself has no answers. Eventually, Amanda, who in this universe is his girlfriend and also a psychiatrist at the lab, helps Jason escape. They are unable to leave the building, so their only escape route is through the box. Amanda administers the same substance that Evil Jason was injected with at the beginning of the season and seals the box entrance. When they awaken, they find themselves in an endless corridor with countless doors. Amanda explains that the human brain cannot exist in superposition, which is why they developed a drug allowing them to perceive infinite parallel universes. The drug takes effect within 90 minutes. With 50 ampoules, they have 25 attempts to find Jason's universe because they cannot return once they leave. However, Amanda doesn't understand how the box operates or how to select the correct door. Jason and Amanda wander down the corridor and decide to open the first door they encounter. They find themselves in a post-apocalyptic world that begins collapsing before their eyes. They narrowly escape and shut the door behind them. They realize the box's coordinates remain consistent in new worlds, but they struggle to locate the correct universe. The box functions as follows. Once the door is closed and the substance is administered, the endless corridor appears. Opening the door causes the corridor to recede back into the box until the door closes again. Despite examining numerous doors, each world they enter deteriorates further. They encounter a monstrous entity in one foggy world, witness their demise in another where they're shot in the lab, and encounter a planet devoid of atmosphere due to a massive sun on the horizon. After visiting these bizarre worlds, Amanda panics and opens a door leading to a snowy wasteland. Jason chases after her, but upon catching up, he realizes they're lost. Eventually, they find an abandoned house where they can take shelter and warm up. They realize this world has also suffered a disaster. Amanda shares memories of her past and recent events with Jason. Jason eventually learns how to control the box. It turns out that the thoughts and desires of those in the corridor influence where the door leads. Their fear had inadvertently led them into post-apocalyptic worlds. Meanwhile, an enraged Layton takes the ampoules and enters the box, hoping to track down the fugitives and understand how the device works. However, the challenges of the parallel universes take a toll, and Layton's health deteriorates rapidly. Eventually, the couple finds the box buried under snow, and Jason tries to focus on his home universe. However, they end up in yet another dying world. There, they encounter Blair from Amanda's world, the second test subject to enter the box, who has seen considerable hardship and chosen a dying yet stable world. Despite their efforts to persuade her to join them, they move on to another universe. With each attempt, Jason gets closer to his world. They find their hometown ravaged by a deadly virus in one attempt, and in another, a universe that seems normal but isn't theirs, where Daniela lives happily with her husband and evil Jason plots to eliminate the original and take his place. However, Jason's conscience stops him. After several more tries, they discover a seemingly perfect world where everyone is happy. Amanda decides to stay, given the dwindling ampoules and slim chances of finding the right world. Despite their bond, Jason declines and returns to the box. With only one attempt left, Jason concentrates not just on the world he desires but on the emotions he feels with his family. Confidently, he opens the door. Now, let's rewind a bit. Evil Jason lives the life of the original character in this universe, driven by regret over his past decision to prioritize his career over Daniela. Having achieved his goals, he sought out a universe where Jason was happy and replaced him. Unhappy as a teacher, evil Jason seeks out Layton to fund his living expenses, having financed the box's creation in his original world. Local Layton initially dismisses another business proposal but is intrigued when evil Jason promises to show him something extraordinary, leaving Layton speechless. He takes Layton to an abandoned hangar and reveals the box. After both drink the substance, they enter and evil Jason showcases various worlds that fascinate Layton. Evil Jason explains the basics of how the box operates and proposes a deal. Layton pays a hefty sum, and evil Jason teaches him to use the device, along with giving him the remaining ampoules. Being wealthy and having exhausted all avenues in his world, Layton finds the offer tempting. They explore different worlds for a while, and Layton eventually requests more ampoules, offering an additional $1 million per ampoule. Evil Jason agrees and returns to his world to retrieve more ampoules, discovering that Jason and Amanda have entered the box, realizing they could track him. Meanwhile, evil Jason's behavior becomes suspicious to those close to him. Daniela notices injection marks on his veins and starts investigating. She discovers his storage unit and retrieves an ampoule, seeking Ryan's help to analyze its contents. Ryan finds the composition similar to his own work, classified and dangerous if mishandled. Evil Jason insists on showing Ryan everything and takes him into the box after they both ingest the substance. He reveals the existence of other universes where one can only enter if their counterpart exists or has existed there. Evil Jason leaves Ryan in a blissful world with advanced technology and seals the door behind him. After providing Ryan with the remaining ampoules for a solitary journey, evil Jason seals the entrance. However, a detective soon investigates Ryan's disappearance, casting suspicions on evil Jason. He breaks open the sealed box entrance and finds Ryan in a random universe, now working as a mechanic. To protect himself, evil Jason frames Ryan as mentally unstable. Meanwhile, Daniela grows increasingly suspicious, but evil Jason manages to deceive her for a while. One night, evil Jason is attacked by his doppelganger and manages to kill him, hiding the body in his car. Returning to Jason stepping out of the box into his universe, he soon realizes evil Jason lives with his wife. He visits a gun store and learns that another identical man had recently attempted to purchase a gun. Jason realizes that each decision he made after entering the box created additional copies of himself, possibly an infinite number in the corridor. Some copies have returned to this world in hopes of reuniting with Daniela and Charlie, referred to hereafter as copies for convenience. One of the copies that evil Jason had killed earlier turns out to be from the same world. The next day, evil Jason is pursued by other copies and kills another in a university restroom where he teaches. Meanwhile, the main character lures Daniela out of the house and explains parallel worlds to her. Initially skeptical, Daniela eventually believes Jason. He asks her to take their son Charlie and meet him later, after which they separate. Evil Jason tries to pull Jason down the stairs, but other copies arrive, attempting to take Daniela and Charlie away. However, the woman and her son manage to escape and reunite with the main character. The family hides in a mansion known only to Charlie. Meanwhile, the remaining copies, now numbering several dozen, are trying to find their loved ones and even create a group chat. Jason joins and discovers some are willing to hold a lottery or share custody, while others are desperate and irrational in their quest to reunite with their families. Realizing her predicament, Daniela announces her decision to stay with the main character, despite others being her husband as well. Their hideout is soon discovered, leading to chaos. One copy nearly kills Jason, but evil Jason intervenes, apologizing for his actions. He gives them his car and lets them escape. In the car, Charlie finds a package of ampoules, prompting Jason to realize their only escape is finding a new world where copies won't find them. They arrive at a warehouse where several dozen copies await, but these copies have no intention of attacking. They've realized Daniela and Charlie's only way out is with the Jason they chose. The copies bid farewell as the family enters the box and eventually finds a world they're willing to call home. Meanwhile, other worlds are shown. Ryan from the original universe ends up in the same world as Amanda and discovers she's not native to it. Ryan begins synthesizing the substance for box travel. Leighton continues exploring universes, enjoying his adventures, while Blair decides to leave her dying world. This concludes the first season. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.